Well, clients are always asking me, like, should I take the deal? Should I not take the deal? And we try never to put ourselves in their shoes. I think that's unfair. It's unfair to us to put the burden on us to say, well, if I were you, I would do this. So we try to avoid that. But what I think is important to consider when someone is evaluating a deal is having a good estimate of the risks. I think we're all good at seeing risk. We're human beings with a reptilian mind that is afraid of our own shadow at times, and we see risk everywhere. And identifying risk, I think, is not unique to people, but being able to identify how much of a risk it is, what's the likely upside if you win, the likely downside if you lose. And if I had to try this case 10 times with 10 random reasonable jurors, how many times out of 10 do we estimate someone would win versus lose? And that is something that can only be done with maybe in the future with AI, analyzing data points, but we do it on our gut. We have enough data points from all these prior cases that I'm blessed at this point and not having mispredicted a trial. And if I think that a client's going to go to trial and has a high degree of likelihood of losing, then that client needs to understand that if he goes to trial, he's probably going to lose, but he could win. I've had clients that I've said, yeah, there's a pretty high likelihood, try this case 10 times, 7 times out of 10, you're probably going to lose this. And that's a financial decision on like a misdemeanor case. Is it worth the trial cost? If it were a case of a mandatory prison sentence, the calculus is different. So let me give you an example. If I told you that right now, if you walk out of your house or your office, that there's a 100% chance that there's a sniper on the roof, and there's a 20% chance that you're going to get killed, that's pretty low odds, 20% chance of losing the trial. Maybe you go to trial and 20% risk of losing. But if it's a Measure 11 case where your whole life is on the line, you go to prison, you get executed by that sniper, yeah, you're probably ordering Grubhub and staying in your office and your house for a few weeks till that risk is removed. Now, if I tell you that there's a 20% chance of scuffing up your new shoes, you're probably going to leave your house. That's odds I'm willing to accept. So it's all about ascertaining the client's what his risk factors are, what's important to him, what his or her goals are, and then working with them to come up with a risk assessment strategy that fits the facts of the case and the likely outcomes along with the client's personal goals.